grandmother's nursery. Equally management culture. Mickey.
Councillors, just to say that the sound has now gone on the recording system, so just be careful that you've got that recording now. In the absence of Councillor Wiles, I'm going to step in and chair it until he either does come to the meeting, or if he doesn't, I'll just continue until he does. That's okay. So good evening, councillors, and welcome to the Sandwich Town Council Finance and General Purposes Committee. I'd like to start off with agenda item number 1, which is apologies for absence received. Do we have any apologies?
We have apologies from Councillor Breen, who is on holiday.
I'm super. Thank you. Item number 2 is declarations of interest. And this is to receive any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of the business to be transacted on the agenda this evening. Does anybody have any declarations of interest to declare? Nope. No, that's your return, that one. Thank you. Item number 3 are the minutes of the Finance and General Purposes Committee. And this is to receive and approve the minutes of the Finance and General Purposes Committee held on the 19th of February 2025. And this is to consider any matters arising from those minutes that are not covered elsewhere in this agenda. And this is attachment number 1. So we have Councillor Chuka first. Would you like to speak?
Yeah, so going through the minutes, there's a number of actions that we read, and I think the majority, if not all of them, have not reappeared, and some suggesting they should. So if I could just draw them out, the first one under the FGP 02-25-5, and that is the very last section that says the following comments were captured during the short debate. The net margin on the market needs to be understood, and a report was requested for next meeting. Well, that's not this evening, so I don't want that to be lost. I think it's important that we do have that. Going on to FGP 01-25-6, third bullet down, it's agreed that there should be a priority list created for the property manager for the April committee meeting for members to consider. Well, that's fine. I just want to make sure that's been progressed rather than us getting caught out at the next meeting that it doesn't appear. Okay. And actually needs to be added to the log for the RFO to explore interest-bearing accounts. So that's the 4th bullet. So I'm not sure if that has been looked at yet.
I have started looking, but
Yeah.
I've come across a few obstacles. For example, one of the accounts that I wanted to pursue, you couldn't have an account unless you already had an account with that bank. And there were other hurdles, such as they don't provide accounts for town councils. So I'm still going. I'm still looking at it. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, what's the size of that one? And then the last bullet there is town clerk to follow up on action FGP 01-24-5 that relates to a piece of land that adjoins the car park with Fellowship Walk due to recent events and activity on the site. Well, we do know there's been a lot of toing and froing on this. I don't know whether the mayor would like to talk to that action, but either way, it was an action we raised last time.
That's right, that's correct. And I have been following up on this because there had been no or seemingly no action from Dover District Council planning or enforcement, but in fact a member of the planning enforcement managers got back to me, and she said that they'd actually made 2 site visits, and the works that had been undertaken were not against planning regulations or authority. So at this current stage in time, they're not able to step in and undertake any action against the owner or developer at all. But they said, obviously, they've been in touch with the developer, and they've told him that if he wishes to go any further with any other action on that site, he will have to submit a planning application. And that's what they've told him. So that is the current situation. Works he's done today do not define anything against the planning regulations. But if he does take anything further and starts putting down what are called oversights or foundations, then obviously he would need a planning application for that.
FGP 0125.8, the final bolded statement, when we got updated on it, says that this related to holiday lets, arrangements for booking and marketing the property are explored. So this relates to Fishergate. Do we have an update on this, or it's not going to the full town council meeting next week? Is it next week? Yes, and it's not. Well, it's not on the agenda at the moment.
Oh,
Because I'm chairing the meeting and the agenda I've seen doesn't include it.
I'm sorry, I don't know anything about this.
No, could you just take it away until we know? I
Yeah,
mean, it may be a late entry into the agenda, but it's certainly not on the draft, the first draft that I saw.
that's really a Fishergate. Could we have an update on what is happening as to the holiday lets?
Just expanding slightly on Fishergate, and we've got a number of steps we still need to go through. It isn't about jumping straight to the holiday let solution in any case, because we have the historic position on it and a potential lease to a third party, which we need to represent, should we say, and then whatever else follows on from that includes this, but maybe other options as well, and maybe including the original option.
Exactly. Indeed.
Yeah.
Is that okay, Karen? Careful. If people are going too fast, do say, because you. No. But you don't have sex, so I'm just trying to protect you from. Some people talk as fast as they think, so. Indeed, Councillor Tudor's is true. I believe Councillor Platt saying that.
Yes, I did.
Speak, please.
Yes, I'm not too familiar with this particular system, having been a user, but it's good. Yeah, on the minutes, the last point referring to the minutes, I don't think that's quite accurate. That says a number of issues were raised by me. They certainly were about the financial regulations. I specifically asked that one of them, which is about the role of the Human Resources Committee, be minuted, and I was told it would be. It isn't. And I can, necessarily go back to that. I would suggest it, rather than the RFO having to plough through all of this, I could drop you a note tomorrow, Karen, as to exactly which paragraph it was, because there's 25 pages of these, but I did specifically ask, and I was told that would be minuted. I would also endorse the point that Councillor Chuka has made about the net margins, although the RFO are now been in correspondence about this again, because I asked about the net margin, and you said that it would be something that you might be able to produce towards the end of the financial year. That might be an alternative to that. When you've got the whole picture, I'd be happy either way, but I think it's important we do see what the net, don't want to call it a margin, it's not necessarily a profit margin, but the net income might be a better way to describe it.
Profit.
is that related to that financial regulations item?
No, the financial regulations was a specific item that was not minuted about the role of the Human Resources Committee.
So is this in relation to the minutes?
It is in relation to the minutes because FGP 012512,
Yes.
the last sentence before it becomes bold is I raised Councillor Blackris and with the town clerk answer at the meeting. One of them was specifically about the role of the HR committee, and I formally ask that it be minuted.
Yeah.
And my other comment then is so, in relation to councillor Chuka's comment about which one it was, yes, 225.5, which is about the net, income from the markets. And again, you and I were in correspondence earlier this week, weren't we?
Yeah.
Indeed, that'd be okay.
It's the first bullet on the last section about entry of FGP 0125.5. That's the first bullet
Yeah, yeah,
at the bottom.
Right,
Yeah.
thank you.
right.
Super. Were there any other queries about the minutes for for that previous meeting on the 19th? If not, I'd like somebody to propose. Councillor Pennington is proposing the minutes, and Councillor Chuka is seconding the minutes. Those in favour of those minutes, please show.
That's with the amendments, isn't it?
Indeed, yes. So, wasn't there? Oh, super, thank you very much. So that's been passed and got one abstention, which is Councillor Anderson there. Okay. Item number 4, public participation. A 20-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representations at this meeting in respect of the business on this agenda. Individual representation should not exceed 5 minutes. Written notice of the desire to exercise the right to speak together with the topic to be addressed must be given to the town clerk at least 4 hours in advance of the meeting. Did we have anybody?
No.
That's super, thank you. So that's a new return as well. Thank you very much for that. Item number 5 are the payment schedules and finances. Unless anybody has got anything specific, I'll be taking items 5 to interesting. Take these on block actually. If anybody's not got anything specific, Councillor Anderson, have you got?
I think Councillor Fortescue and myself are beginning to sound like a cracked record, but there is this question of water charges for Burton's Hill. And I just don't understand. I mean, is this something to do with water being used by people watering the graves of people who are buried in the cemetery? In which case, isn't that a DDC responsibility, not an SDC responsibility? Could you explain what these water
Well,
charges?
we don't have water charges as such, but we do pay standing order
Yeah.
for the tap. So
Right.
there is water on site. As far as I know, no one's using it, but we're still paying for that tap to be down.
And that's a charge, because again, I don't quite understand it. It's 010425 to 310326. So that's somehow a 15-month charge, is it? For having that tap there. It's item 1510.
It's the
No,
200.
it's 1st of April 2025 to 31st of March
So,
2026.
paying in
It's one
advance.
financial year.
It's a financial year.
Yeah.
I had an associated question with that, because I just wondered whether we've, and whilst it is small in amount in comparison with the overall budget, if the tap is not being used, if no water is needed, why do we have a water supply? And if cutting off the water, I don't, as dramatic as that, but stopping having a water supply, is that feasible? And if so, does that mean there's no costs incurred in terms of stopping? It's pointless having a tap that's never turned on.
There it may be.
Like maybe, yeah.
People may be using it.
We might have to refer that to the property manager if
Yes.
that's okay,
That's
because
good.
actually,
Yeah.
with that matter, I have some good news is there is possibly somebody that may be interested in taking over the chapel.
Don't turn the water off.
So we won't turn the water off. I'm not saying they will be.
No.
I've just said we've had a inquiry as to the use of that building. And so until that inquiry has been investigated,
Yeah, we can still, probably still investigate.
still investigate the tap. Okay. So unless anybody
I
has,
have just,
oh, do you? Sorry.
it's not a specific piece of detail, but we touched on it last time. This time, there's a number of agency related payments, and I was just going to propose if the chair was here, and obviously you decides in his stead, whether we need a report to this meeting about the whole solution of the agency effort versus the permanent staff. What we're looking at is just amounts coming through, and I'm a little bit uncomfortable knowing if we had permanent staff doing that, what would that cost versus the costs that we're incurring for this?
That's right, indeed, and I can reply to that.
Oh,
So when the previous caretaker left,
Yeah.
I think I told the council that instead of diving straight in
Yeah.
and recruiting somebody else and going through a similar scenario, as it were, I asked if the property managers could do a cost analysis on a one-person FTE with on costs against having somebody agency
Yeah.
just to do the hours when we need them. And the property manager came back and there was quite a considerable saving of just having the agency staff doing the hours when we need them. So the caretaker would be working for us, would be 37 hours a week, would be reporting to the Guildhall whether they had work to do or if they didn't have work to do. The property manager said if we continue down the agency route, we can just employ members of staff to do the work when we need them to do the work. And also the agency staff, and try and put this in the right vein, are more flexible about working evenings and weekends.
Yeah.
So it was seen to be a win-win situation to undertake the agency. I can't give you the exact figure, but it was like saving of say like £8,000 or £10,000 a year if we continue doing the agency route.
so that's sort of really good if that has been done
Indeed.
already.
It has.
What I would want, I think, is for that to be turned into a report.
Yeah.
To actually have it transparent that that is the case, because then we can all say that makes sense.
Indeed.
Because there are other issues other than just the cost. You've touched on some of them, actually the flexibility is important.
That's
The
right.
ability to turn, we use the same analogy again, the tap on and off is also very helpful.
Exactly.
But without a piece of paper and a report that this committee can look at,
Yeah.
we're relying on just the
Of
conversation
course.
we've had with
Of course.
the-
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Councillor Pennington.
Yes, thank you. I do recall a proposal coming to full council, and I think it was referred back for HR committee to.
You're right. It did come to full council. It did actually, yeah. So, and the amount that was predicted to be saved came to full council. So we have,
So we think
We have seen it, yeah.
articulated.
Yeah.
Okay, if that's the case,
could I ask Karen if yourself
Must have
or
read
the assistant counterpart could perhaps look to see or speak with the property manager about the use of agency over the use of FTE members of staff if possible. So thank you very much on that. That'd be really useful.
Well, we get to feel lots.
Yeah, especially when people are away on holiday and they switch off for a week.
Earlier week,
Mention no names, so it's I'll just read through them. 5A to receive the Sandwich Town Council payment schedule for the end of February 2025. 5B is to receive the Sandwich Town Council payment schedule for mid-March 2025. And 5C is to receive the Sandwich Town Council payment schedule for payments that missed February 2025. 5D is to receive the STC bank account reconciliation for February 2025. 5E is to receive the STC cash book statement for the end of February 2025. And 5F is to receive the STC budget variance report at the end of February 2025. I'd like to propose that they're all accepted. Councillor Schuker is seconding that. So all those in favour, please show. And that's passed by everybody. Thank you very much, councillors. And item number 6 is priorities, terms of reference, status, action log, and F&GP committee update. Attachment number 3. And the town clerk is to share the update for F&GP committee members to note the update, and the decision is required from this. Okay, so this is the action log. Did anybody have any issues to raise about the action log? Councillor Schuker.
So I suppose the top level request will be that we do a proper review of this at the next meeting. What's driven that for me is that I can see on there FGP 06245. So that's from June last year, when there was a working group to be formed to review the risk register, to which I volunteered, as did a few others, now in March. So the expectation of a September review didn't happen. And obviously it's been caught up in the weeds. So it's a specific there, but I think there's a general question. It would be good to go through this in detail next time, and then we can decide the priority of these again.
Definitely.
And the action, obviously.
Of course, yeah, that's the most important.
Yeah.
Thank you for raising that. So, did anybody else have any other queries over the action log, the F&GP committee? Silence, no silence. I'm happy to propose acceptance along with the amendment that Councillor Schuker has put forward. Is anybody else prepared to second that at all? Councillor Pennington is seconding acceptance of that. All those in favour of the action log, please show. And that's been passed. Thank you, councillors. Item number 7 is the Monkswell Nature Reserve Management Plan proposal. And this is the town clerk has share a report that details a proposal from the Monkswell Nature Reserve Warden to update the Monkswell Nature Reserve Management Plan. The proposal is supported by the Monkswell Nature Reserve Committee and recommended for approval by full council. And this is attachment number 4, but a decision is required by this committee. Hopefully you've all read this. And I'll just say before coming to Councillor Schuker, because I mean it's a 5-year plan, and the recommendations that have been put forward seem very professional and correct. And I would actually be in support of this for the small consultancy fee that's available there. So, Councillor Schuker, did you want
So
to?
it was a more a question about governance. So the nature reserve is a ring-fenced budget. We have visibility of it in this committee, and that's fine. But I was just going to question the added value of it coming here before it goes to the town council, because whilst you're on that committee, the rest of us aren't, and I don't really see what the value is. I looked at the terms of reference for this committee, sorry, for Monkswell Nature Reserve, it doesn't make reference to this being a step in their process. Unless the finance officer has an alternative view, I don't see the value of it coming here to then go to SDC.
Councillor Pennington, thank you for that.
I was at the Monkswell committee meeting, and we discussed this. And we understood that with no power of delegation in the terms of reference, that it would need to come from you. It would need to go as a proposal to full council from here, but I mean, I don't know quite what the rules would be in this case, but
Well, we've,
I certainly think that the management plan is overdue. The last one seemed very good, it's not long, and I got it here. It's just an important framework to guide the work of the warden and those sorts of things.
and as said, they have the delegated authority to spend, so, but the town clerk has put it onto this agenda, so,
So I'm not arguing against it being here today, but I want clarification as to the value in terms of governance as to why it comes here, rather than the committee itself, which is your arm as
that's the,
Councillor Pennington is, makes a decision, and it's got to go to the town council in any case for this one decision.
councillor
So
Black,
I think endorsement what Councillor Duker has said, I appreciate if there's a bit of confusion, then it should be sorted out, because I don't think many are able to add any value to it. The sum is pretty minor considering the reserve status, and it's just a no-brainer to, I'm quite happy that we move it on.
Yeah, let's,
in the absence of the town clerk,
Yeah.
though, the town, I don't think she would put it onto this agenda unless there'd been a reason for it. So I think it'd be prudent if we did vote on this.
yeah, I'm not arguing against voting on it because
No.
it does no disservice to vote on it.
No, there's no chance.
Because it's still going to go to the full town council.
Town council.
So I propose a vote on it then.
Indeed, yes, please, thank you.
Right, we accept this report.
Yes, thank you very much. Councillor Black is proposing it, Councillor Tuper is seconding that. All those in favour? Thank you, and that has been passed. Thank you very much for that response. Well, that is a very valid comment. Thank you for that, Councillor Tuper. Thank you. Item number 8 is the VE Day event and the expenditure from budget request. This one is the town clerk's share report that details proposed expenditure for the VE Day 80th event following agreement in the budget setting for £3,000 in the 2025-26 budget, starting from the 1st of April 2025. The committee is asked to support the expenditure and recommend it for approval by full council. This is attachment number 5. This is something whereby, to tell you the truth, this is a major, well, it's a national event that's happening in this country, and nearly all councils are actually, celebrating this event, making an effort to celebrate this and put something on for the members of the public. This, I see, is one of the essentials that we need to have on behalf of the public. We collect the council tax in for the public, and this is an event that the public will want to attend. So from my point of view, I think it's very valid that we set aside a budget for this. And I'd just like to say on record that I'm very, very grateful for Councillor Mallet stepping up and organising these events to put them on for that weekend. So I'll shut up now and let anybody else speak who wants to speak. Councillor Anderson first of all, and then
I agree with this, but I just wanted to tell the committee that the Dina Library, which owns and manages the Leeds Land exhibition, has said that they will allow Sandwich Town Council to acquire a free copy permanently of the exhibition. So they will be sending the text and the images which go on those big banners for no cost to us. And the cost that I think Simon's put in, if the council manager's put in here, £250. I think that must be the cost of printing it off in the first instance.
I see.
It's not going to cost a great deal.
No,
And we were talking about spending hundreds of pounds, so that's supporting it from London.
that's correct.
So we are actually going to,
That's excellent.
it's a rather important article. So basically, very.
Very little. Thank you very much. Thank you for that update, Councillor Anderson. That's very important. I have Councillor Black and then Councillor Tuker.
Yeah, I don't know how much of this is just speculation. I'm wondering if it's going to have to come back again because the issue of Dover District Council seeking quite a substantial sum for car parking, or for lots of car parking spaces. I don't know if we got any more update than the last thing I saw about 2 or 3 days ago in the public domain. But that seemed to be an extra £750 extra and so on. Does anyone have any further information? Is this likely to come back? I'm not opposing any of these things. I think they're very sensible, and if the Bean Library has been able to do that, then that's excellent news. But it's this additional that we're going to have a close look at, and it's tied into one of the festivals.
Councillor Tuker may have an
Outside.
update for us.
I did bump into Councillor Mallet yesterday. It certainly wasn't a hot topic. I mean, it is a hot topic for the 40s.
Yes,
It's the 40s, which obviously
it
is,
was 2 days before, 3 days.
yeah, which is separate. So that's a separate funding issue for Councillor Mallet as leader of that event. I don't think, but it is definitely worth asking. I don't think it impacts the VE Day.
Because this is weekday, I think, isn't it?
Well, it's just where it's located. So, yes,
Because a lot of it will be here,
yes, yes.
which is in parking space.
Exactly.
It'd be useful to get a confirmation of it.
Yes, well,
Indeed.
I think we're.
Just to check that the removal of parking spaces doesn't impact on the actual VE Day celebrations. But I believe Councillor Tuker is correct. That's what Councillor Mallet had led me to believe as well.
Yes.
I think it's in the Bell Hotel, the Beacon on Quay.
Yeah.
And the parking was, I believe, in relation to military vehicles being on a grass.
So the far end,
Yeah.
along the,
That's it.
with
Indeed, that's correct.
Yeah.
So, thank you. I come to Councillor Tuker and then Councillor Pennington.
I just smiled and I hope I'm not misinterpreted. So entertainment, Lulu swings. That did worry me a little bit. I hope it refers to a singer from the period.
Indeed,
I'm sure that
Yes, sorry. That is correct. Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, I believe it's the same one that we had
Oh,
at the previous event. So
Yes,
it's
yeah.
the lady that we had at a previous event there. So, and it is for quite a long period of time. She'll be there all day to give entertainment there. So, which is quite good. So, and of course, there's the added advantage, something that we're going to have, which a lot of other towns will not have, is the searchlight.
Yeah.
And that's a real unique bonus point for Sandwich having that. I think that's really going to put us on the map as being leaders of the event. I've got Councillor Pennington, then I'll come back to Councillor Black if you.
Yes, thank you. I just had a procedural question, really. This estimate is £400 below budget provision. Will this be a final limit, the 2,600, or does it allow the 400 to remain as a contingency?
So what was actually agreed was we'd set a maximum budget of £3,000 for Councillor Mallet to use for VE Day celebrations. As you quite rightly said, this is £400 light of that margin. It is hoped that, he won't need the full amount, but as you say, if there is a contingency, something happens on the day or he has an extra expense, then obviously that would necessitate using more money. But his maximum is 3,000. If he doesn't use all of it up, then it is being drawn down from a budget account. So only the amount that will be drawn down will be used. So if he only uses 2,600, then that is all that will be expended on the event. So, and I do know, he's copied me in, Councillor Mallet, and he's made very good inroads to the schools to engage with school children to come along to the event so that they will have that educational enjoyment as well. And that the council is to give some small memento away, badges and such like to school children. And I know Councillor Mallet is attending one or two of the schools to explain about the event beforehand. So he's making a sterling effort to put this event on. So, okay. So, sorry, Councillor Black, sorry.
Just one minor point that me, and Councillor Mallet may already be working on, but if the searchlight is unique, but will we be able to publicise this in particular? Because what the local television stations do and the local papers do, they tend to focus on one town or village for the celebration to represent all of what's going on in the South East or in Kent. If we've got the unique thing, is this something that really can be driven forward by Sandwich Town Council in terms of publicity? I'm wearing my tourism vault hat at the moment.
Indeed, of course, I thought you liked this. So, so the town clerk had said that we would be publicising the event ourselves,
right,
through social media, websites, and it will be going into the magazines. We're having a magazine as well.
So I think it's just building on what Councillor Black said. I think there's actually an additional step area. I think he's suggesting is actually making contacts
with the media.
I see.
With the media.
pushing what we're doing.
I see. In your speech on Wednesday,
That's correct.
why not mention it through the tourism networking meeting? But that would be a good thing. I would of course take my percentage cut.
Of course.
Other school banking is my name.
Indeed. Thank you very much for that. So that's a note just to go back to the town clerk about encouraging the media companies to promote the DE Day. So particularly with having the searchlight, that we promote that so that instead of going elsewhere, we want them here in the Sandwich. Thank you. That's a very good point, Councillor Black. So all those in favour of approving this budget and the works that have been undertaken, I'd like to propose it. Did we have a seconder?
Yes, I see.
Oh, Councillor Anderson, seconding. All those in favour? That's all been passed. Thank you very much, Councillor.
So we're approving for it to go to council.
Yeah, indeed, that's correct. So, and then item number 9 is temporary delegated financial powers to officers, including emergency. And the RFO is to share a report that seeks temporary delegated financial authority for expenditure for other officers in the absence of the town clerk. This is attachment number 6. So obviously this is, whilst the town clerk is on extended annual leave, this is a factor that, I mean, in case something came up, an emergency or a payment on the Guildhall here, so we had something where we had to call in emergency builders or plumbers or something like that, usually that would be covered by the town clerk for an expenditure of that amount. That, as the town clerk isn't here, we have got that gap, which presents itself as a risk. And so we're asking for, in the town clerk's absence, that the financial delegated powers that are given to the town clerk are also given to the assistant town clerk and the property manager. And that be the authority to spend up to £5,000 in relation to the Guildhall and 3,000 for the chair of the appropriate committee of the town council. So has anybody got anything to raise?
One comment. I think just in terms of the recommendation itself, I think we need to spell out clearly what we are delegating down. Because we've got two officers. Are we giving exactly, so it needs to be just spelled out very clearly. Are we giving them both equal responsibility in the absence of the town clerk, and if so, that needs to be stated. We also need to recognise the fact that the chair of the council or the chair of the appropriate committee is also involved in that process. Need to make sure that's also stated in the recommendation, so nobody goes away thinking something that doesn't reflect what we're hoping that is.
Indeed, I'll just clarify that with the RFO, that will it be delegated separately to the assistant town clerk and the property manager? Because it doesn't make that clear in this report. So will the property manager have these expenditure of up to 5,000 on the Guildhall,
Yes,
and then
the
the
assistant clerk will have up to £3,000 for items relating to Sandwich Town Council, or £5,000 in consultation with the chair of the council or the chairman of the appropriate committee.
So that's the assistant town clerk.
Yes,
Yeah. And what's that? Property
the
manager?
property manager will be able to spend up to £5,000 for items relating to the Guildhall.
only.
Okay, so that's what needs to be stuck out.
That's right.
Yeah.
So is everybody clear about the delegated authority that we're giving to these two officers? And also just, so it's very clear, this will be only whilst the town clerk is in absence. So as soon as the town clerk comes back, this will be rescinded. Councillor Black.
Yeah, and to make it simple, just say that the existing arrangements continue, but pro tem, this delegated to the town clerk, the deputy town clerk, and as to the property manager. But otherwise, the existing authorisation arrangements and consultation arrangements continue, and that saves time to repeat too much. But I think Councillor Trinker is correct. We've got to be clear just what's being done here. But if you do it that way, it saves the RFO to write along with it.
Indeed. Thank you for that. So, did anybody else have any other queries, Councillor Pennington? You make it okay.
No, I was just going to propose.
Oh, super, thank you. So, we have
The
Councillor
amendments.
with the amendments that Councillor Duke put, so Councillor Pennington's proposing, Councillor Black is seconding that. And all those in favour, please show. That's been passed by a majority. Thank you very much, councillors. And item number 10 is the date and time of the next meeting, which will be the 16th of April 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Thank you very much for your appreciation and for your assistance with that. Not really. I'm closing that meeting. Closing out some. It's past 7.
Are we happy to go straight into the Sandwich Finance Committee meeting?
Not
Yep.
until I haven't seen it up.
1 minute. 1 minute breathe.
Oh, RFO, sorry, account, please record the absence of Councillor Ryan. Who's just-
Okay.
It's going.
So this is the meeting of the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund Finance Committee. Item 1, apologies for absences received.
Apologies have been received from councillor Green, who is away.
Moving on to item 2, declarations of interest. Does anybody have any declarations of disposable pecuniary interest from yourselves in terms of the business that we're going to transact on the agenda this evening? No? Thank you. Moving on to the minutes of the last meeting, that's to receive and approve the minutes and actions of the Finance Committee meeting held on the 19th of February 2025, and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not held elsewhere in this agenda. Any comments, if you like, would somebody like to propose those minutes?
I'm quite happy to propose the minutes.
Seconded by Councillor Pennington. And the vote. That's unanimous, thank you. Just mention that on the action log, we don't have any outstanding actions currently. Item 4, public participation. opportunity for any members of the public to make representations at this meeting respecting the difference in the agenda. Individual representation should not exceed 5 minutes. Do we have any requests to speak?
No,
Thank you very much. Okay, if we can move on to item 5, and that's the payment schedules and the finances. So I'm going to follow my usual behaviour in terms of separating these out into different groups. So first of all, we have payment schedules and finances. First 4 payment schedules are for approval. These are attachments 2A, 2B, 2C, and 2D. And that's approving the Sandwich Toll Bridge Fund the payment schedule for the end of February 2025. The payment schedules for the Sandwich Toll Bridge Fund Guildhall, the end of February 2025 and mid-March 2025. Approving Museum and Archives payment schedule for the end of February 2025. And finally, to approve the Museum and Archives payments that miss the schedule for February 2025.
That's that, thank you. I'd just like to find out, unless anybody at this committee knows, when the agreement was made for the transfer of the Einhoff funds back into the museum account. I don't know if the RFO knows about this, but I from the past, obviously I was the only councillor in this room that was around when the Imhoff was sold off. And the fund, I believe that the funds were always being ring fenced for purchases in relation to items that are only to do with Sandwich. But I've seen here that it says that the entire funds from this is this a transfer of money. So are the funds still ring fenced?
the funds are ring fenced in a Scottish Widows account.
Oh, thank you.
There is around 15,000 left
I see.
in the account. These transactions that have taken place over the last 5 years, so it's sort of overdue. Purchases of artifacts and other expenditure that the museum manager has picked out that is solely to do with collections account.
Oh, super. Oh,
So,
that's good then.
Those are that amount of 278.25. That covers about 3 or 4 different payments over the
I
last
see.
5 years.
Right, that's fine. Thank you very much for that explanation. That's
You can
that,
go with that.
that's I'm good at that.
Any other comments before we move to vote on those? No? Would somebody like to propose that we approve these?
I'm happy to propose approval of the
Councillor Carter, somebody to second them? Councillor Back? And the votes? Unanimous, okay. The next report we're asked to receive and approve is the Sandwich Toll Bridge Fund cash book as of the 20th of February 2025. This is attachment 2E. Are there any comments or questions before we vote? No? Okay. I'll be happy to propose those. Councillor Back seconding. And we unanimous vote. Thank you very much. Next set of the free bank reconciliation reports. These are attachments to F to H. We're asked to receive and approve the bank reconciliation for Sandwich Toll Bridge Fund as of the 28th of February 2025. The same for the bank reconciliation for the Sandwich Toll Bridge Fund Guildhall as of the 28th of February. And finally, the bank reconciliation for the Sandwich Toll Bridge Fund Museum as of the 28th of February 2025.
Understands.
Somebody have a second. Mr. Pennington, votes on those. Thank you. And then the final set of the free budget variance reports, attachments 2I to 2K. We're asked to receive and approve the budget variance reports for Sandwich Toll Bridge Fund the 28th of February 2025. The budget variance reports for Sandwich Toll Bridge Fund Guildhall the end of February. And finally, the budget variance reports for Sandwich Toll Bridge Fund Museum the end of February 2025. Any comments or questions? No? Anybody happy to propose those? Anybody?
I'm happy to do that.
Councillor Carter P, somebody second, councillor Pennington M. Those guys.
Yes, it's approved. Okay.
For those eagle-eyed members, may notice that the quarter Treaty report is not included in this meeting. It will be presented to next Monday's full meeting of the trustee.
We put it, I can speak.
I haven't. Have you?
I have.
Have you?
Really.
Well, it wasn't on the agenda. So we're good. I think it was everyone.
Yeah, well,
Maybe
maybe.
you want to call the Juliet's report and figure.
Yeah, first of February to the 28th. February.
Yeah. It's like, attachment 38 comes straight after the financial budget comparison.
That's interesting because it's not on the agenda either.
No,
It's not.
I was up being given a printed set of something.
so why it's not in my.
It's about for this meeting, not next Monday's meeting.
This next Wednesday.
Yes.
That's okay.
Don't worry. If I replay my phone, will be fine. So because the reports for February will be presented to the full meeting of the trustee next Sunday. Right. Yeah, super. Okay,
Yeah.
if we can move on to agenda item 6. And we have a report at attachment 3 to request the placing of 2 banners on the Guildhall balcony to advertise a sandwich spring market event that will be run by Zoom events over the weekend of the 21st and 23rd of March. The banners will be displayed from the 21st of March and removed by Monday, the 24th of March.
To propose that these banners are allowed on the balconies.
What is with that?
It's the, sorry, I'll, Councillor Clinton first and Councillor.
Has someone seen the
The banner.
artwork for the banner?
Have we seen that?
I have
It's-
seen the
It's a
other.
good point.
No.
I don't know who else has.
Yeah, so I have certainly seen a number of banners that are advertising this event that are located around the town.
Yes.
And they are innocuous, should we say?
Yes.
So I think it's a fair point that we can, I would suggest we can approve it to be done, subject to the speech shows that it's all accepted into the consent. Is that the point we'd like to make, Councillor Pennington?
Yes, I mean, I don't know how far this sets a precedent, but I do think that we should be careful about what's on
I agree.
the old premises. I agree with you, the posters that I've seen advertising the event are very simple.
Yeah.
Basic and would cause no offence, but I was just being dull cautious.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. I'd like to feedback, if it be mentioned to the assistant town clerk and town clerk on return, is that the future requests for banners, what would be ideal is that actually we do have a graphic of the banner that's going to be displayed.
Could I just point out, there are criteria set down that the town clerk's got to say about banners that we will not display.
Yeah.
So, like political, religious, or those that are inciting racism or anything like that. So there are some criteria, I know that the town clerk says, that are set down that we're not allowed to accept that are, that are there. So if it had anything on it that
Yeah.
would, I mean, obviously the town clerk's seen it, but she's not obviously told us about that. Because usually what happens when the application comes in to use the forecourt, they usually send forward any publicity material with
Yep.
the application.
So I'm happy to.
So, yeah, I'm happy
Second.
to propose that.
But if for future want, we could have a graphic if it's available. Take the vote. No, it's okay. Agenda item 7, we have a report to request approval for specialist partial exemption VAT calculations prepared by VAT experts. This is a report from the responsible finance officer and is included as attachment 4. I just wonder whether the RFO wants to talk us through at all. Is it a question?
Councillor Mrs. Hart and Stone, and you've got the knowledge on this one, can speak, but perhaps after the RFO has spoken.
Well, this is something that I've been aware about for a while.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm reclaiming that from HMRC on behalf of the town councils and on behalf of the Tollbridge Fund. And we're allowed to do that. But there are activities that are taking place in the building that come under the bracket of exempt VAT activities, and that is room hire. There may be one or two other things as well, but room hire is the big one. HMRC are very generous and they allow you to do look at 7-year figures. So you don't have to necessarily, if you're over a bracket, over their bracket, you can go back and look at 7 years worth of VAT reclaim. And if you've reclaimed more than their figure of 7,500, then you have to pay some back. So we don't know whether we're going to be. We're hoping we're not. But there is a possibility that we might be a little bit over. But they also give you an opportunity to calculate it in lots of different ways. So it's not just one calculation. It's you can calculate the VAT due in lots of different ways, according to space, according to time. That I don't know enough about it to go any further with this.
That's wonderful.
This is why the recommendation from the auditor was that we get somebody, especially the first time, to look at this. But I have obviously used PS tax before, and we've had them look at our VAT before, and nobody has brought to light any glaring errors. So I'm not expecting anything terrible to happen. It's just that we need to do this exercise.
Yeah,
I'd say what I've started doing little bit of work and stuff. For what I've done so far, and also when I've been checking the HMRC website, I don't think we've got much to claim back at all. We haven't charged any VAT on the room hire so far anyway. So it's for my recommendation, I think is not worth doing at all. I wouldn't even put it into the external, because I really want you thinking you spend £2,000 on that, you're not going to get any money. And it's not likely to claim any money, but it's just I've wasted time personally for me. I've looked so far, I looked 2-3 years, so at least about 5 years worth. And then very quickly I had a look through. I think it's how you don't have time to do it, and I don't think you can go back to audit and say you try to have a look at it. It's just not worth our time to claim back, because you might claim back. You think you might claim back £7,000, but we haven't really charged any VAT, or we haven't. So no, I know the category. We don't really have any chances either.
Response.
Personally, I
Well,
think
in my conversations that I've had, I'm concerned that we've been reclaiming back more than this level of VAT on exempt practices. And I just like clarification that it would make me feel better
Yeah.
that the exercise has been done.
because if HMRC thinking they overpaid us back, they're still chasing money back. So I wouldn't bother. Let government do the work, not us.
Yes, thank you. Yes, it just wasn't clear to me from the proposal whether the 2,250, the benefits of that be spread over a number of years. Because if there's a seeding of 7,500, it seems quite a lot to spend on doing the investigative work. So I'll just, is it spread over a number of years or is it every year?
Can you answer that?
I think that it's a 7,500 limit on exempt activity reclaim per year.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, you know, I think we may have gone over that. That's why I'm suggesting that we do the exercise.
So that,
Sorry, can you continue?
well, sorry. My question is, 2,250, is that a one-off payment?
Yeah.
For which we will reap the benefit over a number of years?
The benefit to me would
The
be
issues.
not having HMRC come to us in 20 years and say, you owe us, you know, £10,000 worth of
Okay, thank you.
wrongly reclaimed VAT.
Could I just get clarification? This, if we approve it, this cost will go back at least 7 years. And do any checks on that? Will they also, should they find something, come with clear recommendations about, we need to do this differently? If that's part of it, then that's fine as well. And also presumably if they find that we have not claimed enough, that we can claim some of it back.
I
But
think-
I fully understand that, because it could be quite embarrassing to have end up with a claim from HMRC that we have claimed too much. I can understand that, but if it goes back, and this is something like a one-off exercise, that we don't need to do for another 4, 5, 6, 7 years, because we now know we've got robust, up-to-date systems in place, I would be very supportive of it. I do take, Councillor Carson's viewpoint that if at first glance it looks as if we don't have a problem, and I fully understand the reason for not spending that. But if this gives us some security over the next 5 years, for example, that may be money well spent.
what I would say is that I tried to do this part extension last year, and then I was told that was incorrect.
By HMRC,
By auditors.
by the auditors,
That I should reclaim everything in the first instance
right?
and then do this partial exemption later on.
But it would help your procedures over the next few years, for once we get a full report.
And understanding.
And
Yes,
thank
yes.
you. That would, well, yes.
Councillor Carson.
Yeah, sorry. So can I ask the RFO, having myself worked for HMRC, have you actually approached HMRC to get the free advice from them that they're prepared to give on this matter?
No, I didn't realise that I could get
You
advice.
can actually ask for a free consultancy, and they will advise you on this. So could I ask that we go down that route before we go down this route, if possible?
Yes, so in terms of any time expectations around this, Karen, can this be
It's
pushed
ne-
back to the next meeting?
This exercise should have been done by now for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
previous 7 years.
Yeah.
So I
4 weeks.
can't see that fully, and I'm really going to make much difference.
So I think what you're getting is you get support here in terms of the need for you to have that assurance for you particularly, but also for the town council staff. I think there's a couple of steps, interim steps worth pursuing, particularly the one that Councillor Carter has mentioned, to pick up with the HMRC. Yes, and then we'll bring back next time. I was just going to clarify: would this decision to pay in any case have to go to full council? Full council instruction, SPBF. It's here, isn't it? Yes. Would it have to go to full SPBF for a financial decision ultimately?
I think we do, because
Yes.
if, you didn't have any financial.
That was it.
Yeah.
Sorry. I asked the question.
Well done. Well done. Oh,
If you lodge your request and come before the March, and there's accounted for this financial year,
Yeah.
it might take them 3-4 weeks to come back. If you lodge your inquiry with them, then they will come back.
Yes, so it covered you back. So
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay,
So
So-
I'm proposing taking the defer it and take the intermediate steps and then bring this back after we check.
For clarification then, we defer, but you, approach HMRC to see if they are able to do
That's
anything for you.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure which time scale we're going to do it at, but.
well, you can ask them to look at the whole 7 years, so.
Okay,
And Councillor Mrs. Carter has done some research
Yeah.
on this. So,
They were looking to straight away and they knew. Yes.
I think we should have some way forward, so we're not voting on this today, we are voting to the next one, so.
Anybody have to say from that? All those in favour?
Unanimous. The next item is item 8, report to request approval for other officers to have.
which is identical to the wording.
And
Sorry, it's a solution exactly as we did for the STC election too. Nothing changed except to, but that's it. It's simple.
I'm second that.
Okay, and that's the final full item tonight. So agenda item 9 is dated on next meeting, Wednesday, 16th of April, 2025, following the STC Ethical Committee meeting at the council chamber. Thank you very much.
If we do this sort of thing. So, I mean, so.
Oh, right.
Okay. I'm down to the details.
Going from